is politics. We now want to switch gears and go to matters to do with family. And today we continue with our series of discussions in regards to how you can build and sustain lasting and healthy relationships while at it. Remember, we started this conversation a while back, and yes, last week we were able to touch on a few things. And so today we're going to be continuing with this discussion. So feel free to send any questions or any comments that you may have in regards to relationships, especially if you are in one, if you are married, if you are courting, if you're just about to get married. This discussion is for you. Remember, the hashtag you can use on Twitter is Good Morning Kenya. Our station handle at KBC Channel 1. Our individual handles, mine is at Jain Wambui, and my colleagues at Raymanyar and at Ram Aguko. And of course, to help me with this discussion, I have with me Josephine Mburu. She is a motivational speaker. Thank you for making time, Kurudi.
Thank you.
Yes. And to my extreme left, we have Fred Abok. He is a mentor, a life coach, and our resident analyst. Karibu sana, Abok.
Asante sana.
All right. Last week, I did get quite the amount of feedback in regards to the few things that we managed to talk about.
Sure.
You know, last week we talked about trust. What else did we talk about? We talked about communication and compromise.
Sure.
We were able to touch on those three things.
Yes.
And the question of compromise, just as you had said it gets to a point where you have to just draw the line.
Yeah.
And a few people actually agreed with that. Yeah. You find that some situation, people take advantage. You know, human nature, you take advantage of where you can be able to bank on.
Yeah.
All right, so today we want to continue with these discussions, and I just want us to pick up from where we left off, and we start with this one key thing when it comes to arguments.
Yes.
And knowing how to pick your battles wisely. Yeah. What can you tell us a bit about that?
There is healthy arguments in a relationship, and it is always healthy. Because if you don't argue in a relationship, you may not understand one another. It is good to have an argument in a relationship so that you will know the other side of the other person. If you don't know my weakness, when we argue, you'll know. And also, I'll be in a position to put the boundary, to put a line that I want to cross. So, according to me, argument in a relationship is not all that bad. There are this health, and the other side, it is shameful to argue in front of people. You should sit aside, look for somewhere and argue. Tell the other person, I'm not happy about this, I'm not happy about this. If you don't do this, I want to do this.
Okay.
So according to the argument, there is not much bad of it. Because you learn.
Yeah.
You are two different people who have come from different backgrounds, and you have agreed to stay together. So if you don't argue, you don't understand each other.
You don't understand each other. So arguments are bound to happen, come what may. If you don't have arguments, one of you is compromising a lot and suffering. Yeah. But now, Abok, when you look at it, there are those things that you can argue about, but the things you just choose to let go. You know how to pick a fight, and you know some things that you can talk about, and others, they're not worth the time and the effort of arguing. But you find many couples don't really know which fight is worth it and which is not. They just fight about anything and everything.
Yeah, as much as the argument is are important in marriage or in a relationship for that matter, it's pretty essential to verify the value of argument, the worthiness, quantify the value around it. By asking yourself some very essential questions. What do I want this argument to achieve? Pretty way ahead before you begin the argument. How can it be able to develop, you know? But you know, the challenge with argument is that sometimes we resonate in argument based on our ego systematic. We're trying to portray our ego. And you know, on that, when we portray our ego, we degrade the trust and the essential marks that glue the marriage. Why? Because there is discontent and emotional imbalance when arguing. Because you know, when you're arguing, you're trying to prove up a point, and you know, you're proving a point that is not necessarily has to be proved. In relationship, there are several other ways better off that you can actually be able to prove a point than the argument. So why can't you actually resolve into other things other avenues that can help you out in, bringing out your discontent rather than settling an argument.
Going back to the importance of communication.
Sure.
And effective communication.
Effective communication.
You know, the thing this day is you want to communicate one thing, but what you communicate is not what the other receiving party gets.
Yes.
So that's where people go wrong.
It's very essential. And the greatest secret of essential communication is actually to ask yourself a question and also try to get an answer, so that you verify within that context of what you're going to get a response. Within that, you will also get to understand how you would have responded if the same question or the same analysis would have been brought to you. So put yourself on the receiving end, so that you're able to balance what someone is actually bringing out, and that will be able to parameterize on what we are actually putting on the table.
Yeah.
Yes.
So learn how to argue in a healthy way.
Yes.
Don't just argue for the sake of winning an argument.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, you create more damage than good. All right. Now, let's quickly go to understanding that everyone is different. Your partner is different. Because you find you get into a relationship with all these expectations. Nataka kuwe hivi, anifanyie hivi, aende hivi, akae hivi, avae hivi. But you don't let it sink in that this person is different. It's a whole different person from a whole different background. Yes. So you find stress more than it's actually helping you.
Yes. Now, what I normally tell people, remember, you came from your family, and the other partner come from the other family. You are not born even by the same mother. You are put together by relationship or by love. So there are so many things I do you don't like. There are so many things you're going to do that I wouldn't like. What I tell people is you have to understand, and understand very carefully, my motives, my emotions, my physical appearance. Some men don't like fat people. They come, they start telling you, oh, you look very fat. Oh, I don't like fat women. That is the physical. You are created that way. So that person must understand that that is the nature. You are born like that. You are like that. Unless you walk together, you start doing the impossible. Others, they look you very tiny. And they say, oh my God, you are very tiny. I didn't know you are like this. You have to understand each and everybody, emotionally, physically. When you see somebody doing something that you don't like, don't rebuke. Please try to understand, talk it so well, so calmly, and that person will understand. Maybe it's something you want to agree on. Maybe I don't like, the other person doesn't like, and this thing has happened in our relationship. We have to sit down and make each other understand. We have to put it in a godly manner and discuss it to make it everybody understand what is going on. The other thing, if you don't see anything good in me, that is not a relationship. Because in the real sense, I must have at least one thing good that you saw when you are coming to me. When you approached me, there is something very nice you saw.
Made you attractive.
And you decided that now we can work together. If we get differences on the way, we have to learn how to understand each other.
But now when you get to that level where differences are starting to show, that's where most people get cold feet. Then they start judging like, hey, I didn't know you were like this, but they don't understand that this person is absolutely different. Abok.
I think the aspect of embracing emotional intelligence in a relationship is pretty essential to adjust to some fundamental issues, especially on difference of background and behavioral systems. Now, for us to be able to get this pretty clear and cultivate oneness in a relationship, it's good to bear in mind that there will always be differences based on the background, cultural values, but also variances in understanding of issues that are essential but also fundamental in marriage, in a relationship for that matter. Now, for this, you need to create, you need to leave an avenue for growth. And, you know, it's just like bringing up a child. There are discomforts that do take place when people get to discover themselves. And so could you be able to create up a leeway? At what extent can I be able to be permissive on a certain behavioral system?
Yeah.
Now, this will help you to put on adjust, because it is at the angle that you're looking at someone on the mirror that you're also being looked at. But when you play Mr. Perfect so much, the chances are high that you will never find someone of your standard in the society. So this difference is actually, there's need to look at ourselves by point of grace, by getting to understand that what you have done that looks a bit wrong on my eye, I am also capable of doing it. And how would I like to be handled when I find myself in the same situation? So look at one another with an eye of understanding that I can also, I am subject to just the same thing. You know, it beats the logic where someone says that, you know what, I can do such kind of a mistake. You can never find me doing such kind of. All right, you can beat your chest and say it on that. But what if it finds out? So will it mean that someone will judge you on the same marker points of what you did raise?
Yeah.
Yes. So give variance, give space for people to understand you.
Understand that everyone comes from a different background.
Yes.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can't be exactly the same.
We are working for unity.
Yeah.
We're already different, but we're working on towards unity. So what balance variances are we going to put so that we be able to stick on together purposefully for the growth of our relationship?
All right. Now, let's quickly move on to now. This next one is mostly about couples that are married or in a formal legal institution. You find, and I hear this casually from a few friends that I've heard, like the lady might say, my stuff is my stuff and your stuff is ours. But I read up on this golden equation that your stuff plus my stuff equals to our stuff. But we take it so casually, we don't really see the weight that that statement actually has.
Are you talking of money issues in the
Everything.
Okay.
You know, ile msichana sema
Money, vehicle, house,
yangu ni yangu, then yako ni yetu.
Okay.
Unaelewa?
I try to understand the reason why people say yangu ni yangu, yako ni yako, is the insecurity in that relationship. You don't have security. You don't trust this person so much. You are looking as if one day this person might wake up and decide to tell me, oh, pack your things and go. You don't see future of the relationship. When you don't see the future of your relationship, that's when you start saying, I have to keep this for my own.
But that happens in couples that are married.
Yes. You know, that's why I'm saying, if you don't see future in that relationship, even in that marriage, there are so many people who are single married. They are living together, but everybody lives her life. So you find in most cases in such relationship, that's why you find somebody and I say, oh, now, if I give everything to this woman, one day she might wash me away. So what I want to do, I'll give a portion of it, and then the rest I keep it for myself. If it is a woman too, you find a lady saying, oh, now I have to have my own account, a fat one, and then I contribute just a drop. So that when this guy tells me, back off, I have my own. I have something to walk away with it. If it is a car, you find some ladies, they don't want their men to drive their cars. Because they think, I'll give my husband a car, and then he will go calling other women on the way. So that is a threat, that is a fear. You don't want such a thing in your life.
Yeah.
So you find, if you don't trust so much each other, you find such things. Also with the money.
Yeah.
I'll find now I have my own money. And I want now my husband to use most because he married me. By the end of the day, he married me. So he'll take the whole responsibility. Well, I just find it is very wrong because you agreed, both of you, to come together, to share together in the times of good, in the times of bad, in times of sickness. You work together. I find it is cheapy to have your own. Also, if you are going to have something of your own, let your husband know you have something. Or let your partner know, despite it is mine, you also owe it. In today's life, you'll find somebody is dying. A woman will die and she'll lose everything because she kept it for herself. She never told the partner or the husband about it. So even if it is money in the bank, the money just disappear like that because nobody claims it. If she is going to write the next of kin, maybe a child who is 2 months or 1 year old or 5 years old who has no mandate of claiming your property. If it's the man, and this one I challenge men. You go, you buy properties, plots at lower other places. You don't tell your family. The moment you die, oh my God, everything go amiss. Everything get lost. So it is good in our relationship or in a marriage life, people talk to one another. People share same goals the same way. If I share the same goal with my husband, we focus on something.
You're on the same page.
Yeah, we move together.
Yeah.
Because the birds of the same
feather.
Yeah.
Flock together. Abok, do you agree with what she's saying? I mean, these are things that we see. Somebody buys stuff, they don't tell their partner that when they die, maybe they're reclaimed by the authorities, or they leave them under the children's name, and then the children are in the custody of their parents, or they just have some money stashed away somewhere because that is their stuff.
Jain, it's pretty fundamental to understand that the nature of man, we are created to be selfish.
Yeah.
When you just land on the world, you are selfish.
Yeah.
And that's why you give a child 5 biscuits and you ask him or her for 1. They say, you know, that is their nature. The next thing is that we are rebellious. Now, these are attitudes that work against oneness, especially in marriage. And so the issue of oneness and clarity of engaging on together must be essential and intentional, in that there are things that we need to do away with, right? And how do we do away with them? We got to first of all accept that they are there. Then we got to deal with them candidly, so that, and you know, even your parents, because the nature is selfish, they will always advise you, either because of some of the repercussions that they have always went through, or some of the mishap that they have experienced. But I always tell people that, you know what, you can never run your marriage the way your parents ran their marriage.
But you know, there are parents who tell their children, it
is well. It is well. The effectiveness of trust is to trust until it's proven that you cannot trust. But don't be so scared of trusting and expecting that your partner will trust you. Marriage has never been a 50-50 kind of an idea. Marriage has always been 100 plus 100 is equals to 1. Now on that is that, you know what, put yourself on trust until it is proven otherwise. But even if it is proven otherwise, there is always a way out. What has brought people together is not how much you have, but how much you are able to give. All right? Are you able to give on yourself? If you have been able to give on yourself, then there is nothing that is worth to be hidden out. It is essential to understand that, you know what, these things that make so much value in us and makes us so stingy about who we are and cautious about having them, they are only existence as long as our health is in good structure. But when our health deteriorates and we are unable to, you could be holding the best, the most expensive Mercedes-Benz, but I tell you, you can't drive it. You could be owning your 6 to 7 to 12 bedroom house, and on top, your legs cannot take you up there. Someone will have to carry you and take you on there. So why can't you be able to think broadly? I think people who have issues of selfishness and lack of openness are people who are narrow mindsets. And so when they look at life basic on what they've seen. And so, you know, wanaangalia maisha kama ni bidii yangu. But I want to tell you something. There are people who've left their houses, and in that beautiful car, someone has actually shot them, and they cannot take themselves to hospital. They need, the person you have actually did not disclose to where you're going will have to be called to shughulikia for you. So let us make on things fundamentally. Let us look at things objectively and see that life is beyond what you own. Life is who we are. And if life is who we are, can we begin to live life? That's why a relationship is naked. It is truth. It is truth. And you know, I always tell people that, you know what, the effective in a relationship is when it is dark. When you close the door. And so please avoid switching lights before you know, get yourself who you are. You aren't there. That is who you are. The bat suit
Yeah.
And so this is what I own. What I own is me. Yes. So not my wallet, not my car, not the house, not the property, not my fat bank account. It is me, the person you're seeing on here. If I'm ugly onto you, that's not what you desire.
Yeah.
If out of the ugliness you see something that you value,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Can you love them naked?
Yes.
And not just meaning naked literally,
Yeah.
but just going beyond what you just see.
Yes.
The superficial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leaving the lights on. Is it on or off?
On.
No. You know, we like
Not literally.
we like closing the door.
Yeah.
Put off the lights, inside the blanket, then you feel people, we look like, a fish inside the water. But, you know, you remove the clothes on the, no one really know how you look like. No. The who I am.
Leave the lights
is
on.
Who I am. Yes.
Wow, Abok is even shaking his head. My director up there is in agreement. All right. Now, you had mentioned the whole point of finances.
Yeah.
Being on the same page in regards to finances, because you know finances can either make or break any relationship.
Yeah.
Whether you are dating, whether you are engaged or married, finances are really a very tricky area to maneuver.
Yes.
Your advice when it comes to finances and working as a couple?
I'll advise couples to be transparent, and especially when it comes to finances. Sometimes you both of you don't have anything, but you have to live. Life has to continue. What do you do when you don't have? And why do you change when you have? Who is this? Is teaching you that when you have, you live your own life. And when you don't have anything, now it's our life. Let's live. We face the consequence together. So I'll advise people to think and rethink about the finances, because that's why you find many people are having troubles with the relationship or in the marriage. Because I have my money and my husband doesn't have money at the moment, there is nothing will move on. I can't buy food, I can't pay school fees, because it is his own responsibility by the end of the day. So what I tell people is, let you carry the responsibility, all of you. Let money not be something to separate you. If you are going to invest together. If you don't have money to invest, what you have, buy food and eat together. And I believe God loves people who does things together, because you don't have any conflict. But I'll tell people, if you have your portion somewhere, don't sit on it. One day, I always tell people like this, don't bang the door as you go out. You may need it when you come in. So when you have something, don't boast. Don't talk and howl in that house.
Don't burn bridges.
Don't break bridges. You may need them when you want to come back.
Yeah.
So be very careful. Money comes and go, and you are left, two of you. Maybe when you are meeting, you had nothing. Now God has blessed you. You have worked so hard. Maybe the lady is having a lot of money, big cars. But remember, that man loved you when you didn't have. And if he loved you when you have, remember, anything can happen at any time, and you find yourself down there. So it's very important to watch money. Use money very well. Money is the father of all evil. Though money is good, helps you to do many things, be very careful. It is very good. But if you don't use it well, your relationship is going to end up. And one time you will regret. I wish I never used money is power. I used money as power to run my relationship. So it is better we be very careful. It is better for couples to know money comes and goes.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't have money from January to December. There must be a month there in between. You cry, you say you don't have. Kumakauka. Leo nimesota, these times sijui kunaenda namna gani. But money, you cannot compromise money with wrath or with a relationship. That is no doubt. I say, you can't.
Yeah.
It is very good to look. What does the money do? It is good. It pays school fees. It buys food. It buys houses. It buys good cars, big land. Oh my God. But what it's all about. Will it one day make me feel I don't like this man I got? Will it make my husband think that one day he doesn't want to see me, he doesn't like me because of the money?
Yeah.
We should be very careful with the money.
You know, money is not the root of all evil. It's the love for money that drives people insane. Even the good book says it's the love for money.
Yeah.
Abok, especially in relationships where you find one of the two earns more. So the other one feels this one is running things because they think they earn more. They feel insecure that even though the partner is earning more, especially when the lady is earning more, let's just be straight up, especially when the lady is earning more, you find that the man becomes, sometimes they even get aggressive because they feel, mwanamke anaona kuna pesa nyingi, ataleta mambo hii na hii.
Great. I think very basically, when it comes to money, 3 things come into play.
Yeah.
Budget, planning, and transparency. Any money that is not budgeted for, it is a money that is already misused even before. Any money that is not planned for is money that is not prioritized. Because in life, there are things that are important but not urgent. But there are things which are urgent but not important.
Yeah.
Now, planning gets you to understand what is both important and urgent, or what is urgent but not important. This will help you. And for us to be able to understand what is important and urgent, we need to come into a consensus, because money serves us. We do not serve money. Money is meant to give us pleasure and be a channel for us to fulfill some fundamental areas in marriage or in a relationship. So when money is clearly communicated, what will actually come out is that we will be accountable for the money. It does not mean that if we misspend money somewhere, we are not accountable. Now, when we plan for money, we will get to understand that there are some essential areas that sometimes we may spend unintentionally. But when we budget for what is unintentional, then it will not really hit up on us. Basically, that what was meant not for, we have actually spent it. Now, you know, when you are accountable for something, you know that you will give an account for
you can
it.
trace every coin back.
You can trace it back. And so when it is generally discussed, people come into a conclusion that the basic and most essential things are done. Now, when we are planning for money, we need to get to understand from important to the leisure. Even our leisure and pleasure is as important as paying for our bills. All right? Because since money is serving us, we need not to be in a miserable state because, you know, money is serving us. There are people who are buying properties and, you know, taking children to school, but yet they are wearing shirts like that has come from the mouth of a cow.
Tatters, yeah.
All right? Or they are, you know, they have shoes that even if a poor man meets them, a poor man say, I am poor, but you are more poor. You know, so if money there are some fundamental things that got to be done.
Yeah.
And so let us look at ourselves and say, as this man is serving us, we are not dying today.
Yes.
There are some things that are essential. So how can I be able to serve you better? Maybe put you don't have to bring all the money and put it on, but say, this is what I've got. And because I've got this, let our love precedes money. And because we want ourselves to have a better life, how then do we calculate on this? Then let us put disciplinary measures on money. Any place that there are no disciplinary measures, that's why even government has to put disciplinary measures. This anti-corruption, whatever, ethics and all, these are all discipline measures to make sure that we are ethical. You know, we have the ethos of running our life on day to day, yet it is still ours. But you put yourself in measures around it that will help you to look back and say, yes, what I did with my money is essential. But when we begin to pretend that what is on our right hand, our left hand should not know. I tell you, when the right hand is crying for misuse, the left hand will be blaming the right hand. You know, you didn't tell me. Yes.
Wow.
Then the blame game starts.
It's
Yes,
a blame game.
game.
And blame game brewed rebellion. Rebellion brewed discontent, and discontent brewed death.
And the relationship dies. You know, they say we're living in a time where people love things and use people.
Yes.
Instead of it being the other way around.
Yes.
Love people and use things. But it's sad.
Yeah. It's premature and uncouth for you to change character just because there is money.
But money changes people. The love for money, not money. Money is just a tool that is there to be used.
Yes.
But the love for it is what is driving people insane. All right. So now let's move on to one thing that really affects especially married couples, and this is respect and working as a team, especially where the extended family is involved.
Yes.
Casing example, it's your house, but now say you are the man.
Yes.
Your brother comes to visit and your wife is at home. And you find situations where your brother may not respect your wife because classic, and it happens.
It happens.
Let me hear from you first.
Great. I think in every game there are rules. Even when you find kids playing football outside there made of polythene bags out of, there are rules of the game. That if you push someone, right, now we cannot run a family that has no rules and regulations. And these rules has to be embedded in our hearts, very clear and well communicated. The challenge starts when you have not communicated, because we are naturally selfish, we're naturally rebellious.
Men.
No, human beings.
Human beings.
Human beings.
Okay.
And so what helps us on to stick into the formal atmosphere is to put rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
Rules sometimes could be tough, but to put guidelines on how to, relate well. Now, I may be your brother, but this is my house. And this house, it is me and my wife. We are one. We no longer two. Now, I need to communicate this to my relatives well, that me and my wife is not me and my wife. It is me. So when you touch her, you touch me. When you abuse her, you abuse me. When you disrespect her, you disrespect me. And it is fundamental. I love you, my brother. I love you, my mother. But when it comes on into my marriage, you need to understand that I deserve respect, I deserve honor, and I deserve my things to be respected. Now, so when you come into my roof, all right, you need to play by the rules and the guidelines of that. So there are things you don't do. Now, the way I relate with my wife and the way I honor her will actually give you peripheries on what the do's and don'ts. Now, when people tend to misbehave when they see on the way we treat our partners.
Yeah.
Like when I call them names, and you begin to look carefully, and that and this does not only apply to our extended family, even to our children. When you abuse your wife in front of your children,
The children follow suit.
they follow up, or you spank your wife. What does the kid know? Okay, you are a basket. You are a boxing. You need to be spanked up or to be heated up.
Yeah.
But when we treat ourselves with respect, we treat ourselves with honor and with love, anyone who comes in will actually automatically bear in into. And so I cannot speak this. I cannot over-explain this. But the fundamental thing is on the two people. How do we relate? How do we portray love? How do we portray understanding and consensus? How do we sort out disputes? Have we put mechanism that can help us to solve out our conflicts? Or do we display dirty lenience in the public and make people get to understand on our weakness? People will be automatically disrespect us. Then secondly, is how do we discuss, how do we vent out our discontent?
Yeah.
Do we talk to our family the negatives about our
Your partner.
partners?
Yeah.
That one gives them a
Josephine
leeway.
agrees there thoroughly.
That one
Gives
I
them a
agree.
leeway to dishonor our partners.
Yeah.
Now, you need to understand that marriage is not based on your culture. Marriage is a godly affair. Whether you are a Muslim, Indian, a Christian, it's a godly affair. And that's why it's a God ordained. And so it needs to mirror who God is. God does not tell us the disagreement they have with angels. They sort it out where they have it. Are we getting one another? And so our marriage needs to be sorted.
Yeah.
And if it cannot be sorted amongst us, it needs to be sorted within our counselors or people we honor and respect. Our parents will always tend to, your parents think that you're the angel, you're the best. So if you're promiscuous out there, and then you tell your parents that my husband is beating me, there's no. This one, we know her from when she was born. She has never been.
And that's the shortcoming of parents, because they know this person as their child,
yes,
but you know them as a woman or as a man.
Yes. And that's why our parents can never sort out our conflicts. Anyone out there who is taking your conflicts to your parents, you are doing a great disservice to your marriage.
Yeah.
Because your parents know you as a child.
Yeah,
you need to get to someone who knows you as a wife, who knows you as a husband, someone who can tell you right on your face that, hey, you are wrong, and you need to rectify on things. But you know what? Going on to your parents will never sort you out. And so I pity people who take their marriage issues to their, it will never be sorted out. I don't care whether your parents are pastors or whether your parents are angels out there, but when it comes into a relationship, they can never sort it out.
Yeah.
Please, I have done this research and I proved me wrong. It can never. Even my daughter, I cannot sort out issues. There is a feeling that I have for her that you know,
naturally
it's provoked. So please get a counselor, get your best couples, get them sorted out. Someone who is neutral, who can be able to help out.
Josephine.
Truly, I agree with the Abok.
Yes.
You find somebody who didn't like to solve his problems or her problems in the house. She will go to tell the mother, always on the phone, my mother, you know, it is like this, it is like this. Let me tell women, your mother, your parents will always side with you. Your mother will tell you, oh no, if it is going like that, you know, even me, it was going like this. The other thing, it is true. The other thing is good to know where the problems comes. If it is in-laws in my house, I keep them off. Because sometimes you find they come to lure you. They come to tell you your wife is never happy when they are there. Because they will say, this is my brother's house. Let me tell you, if it is in-laws in your house, let them stay in your mother's home.
But
because that is a relationship, and it is between you, and it is yours, and that is your life, and you are not going to change them. They want you to change.
Yeah.
If it is when you talk about your wife outside there, always talk good things. When you talk bad things about her, when those people comes in the house, they find her as a statue in the house. When you go to talk evil things about your man outside there, when they come in the house, they say, oh, we have been knowing at they swing for him. Let me tell you one thing. Relationship, respect in the house is fundamental. And you cannot change that. And I say that you respect. Everybody should respect that.
Yeah.
And everybody should know that this is a teamwork.
Working as a team.
Working as a team. And if you are not invited, even to watch the ball, you become a spectator. So you are a spectator in this relationship. So be very careful. Even to you partners, when you are talking about your outside people, like now, your parents-in-laws, your other people, your sisters, your brothers, it's also good to be very careful. Because I may think my husband is so good to me, I tell him about his people, the next minute, he's there. He tell them, you know, he may not tell them, Josephine was telling me like this, but he may tell them, you know, hii area, mujaribu kuchunga sana. Si amewambia tu. Amewambia tu. Even when you are very careful, you'll know there was something discussed about us. So it is always good to know.
Yeah.
I think there's a notion that needs to be clarified.
Yes.
That marriage has no reverse gear.
Yes.
And so let no one cheat you that there are alternatives in marriage. You know, that if this one don't work, the other one will work. I am, I counsel people.
Yeah.
You divorce this one, you pick up this one. You are only picking a problem on top of the other problem.
Oh, yes.
Are we getting one another? So anyone who is giving you an option out of your marriage and is not giving you a solution into that marriage, that person is a disservice to you, and it does not matter whether it's your father or your mother. Please disconnect. When it comes into that matter, you are no friends.
Also, I said to Dick, you are the author of your relationship. You write the script, you lead it, you make it correct. You as a person, you two of you not anybody else.
And as much as they are author, they are also the witch.
Yes.
They are also the ones who bewitched.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's very good to be.
Yeah.
You
No one is
order when
witch.
you
In
witch.
fact, you are going to a mganga who has been. You are the witch of your marriage.
Yeah, you speak
Yes.
evil things about it.
Yes.
You can make it.
Yes.
You are looking for love. Oh, my husband does not love me, and you're sleeping with a t-shirt written "Siriange ni ng'ombe." Come on. You need to fix it up. No mganga will tell you to change your pants and begin to be lovely on your bedroom. They will only eat your money. So please change.
Yes.
Or else the man calls you stupid, and then you start behaving like a stupid person in the house. You should make yourself look better. And show him that you're not
Where did you see
stupid.
that made me call stupid? So rectify the
Yeah,
stupidity.
rectify the spirit and don't stick on the mess. If you fall down today,
Yeah.
try to wake up and move on.
Yes.
Don't smear yourself with those matopes. Wake up and change.
Wake up and change.
Yes.
Well, that was a roll. That was a
And,
roller coaster.
let us get to let us get to understand our partners.
Yeah.
Friends, we need to understand our partners. It is essential, and I tell you, ladies, the house girl takes shower at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Pakasa mona and some easy puff. Then this is the one you want her to serve your husband.
Yeah.
Now she comes on there with her BD skirt, and you are from work. Maybe you are mama mboga somewhere. You are selling, and you are with your sweat. You go into the kitchen. When you get near your husband, you smell like another a goat that when he looks at you.
But this is someone who's from working in as much as you have
It
been
is
working.
essential. Now we can never overrate physical beauty.
Yeah.
As much as love is character. We can never overrate. Your hair looks like the one that they see with their grandma. And the house girl here is making herself well. Before you know, you will look for prayers.
Also, I'll talk to women about the weaves.
Please
we wear.
do.
Yeah, these weaves we wear. You wear a weave for 2-3 weeks. When did you wash your head? I believe we should keep on cleaning our heads because we put very strong oils on our hairs. Those weaves are made of synthetic, some of them, and they are good because once we put them, we look pretty, but we should not keep them. The other thing, avoid those stockings on your head.
Oh my goodness.
We say that, he's talking bad, he's moving with my house girl, because once the moment he comes in the house, he finds you with that stockings. And then you call people mad people, and you are wearing a pant on your head.
So the physical goes a long way.
Yes.
Physical goes a long, and it's not only physical on our body.
Yeah.
It's also physical in the bedroom.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't make your bedroom become a store. All right? That everything is in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Jerry cans are on top. The man goes onto the bed, looks up, and he thinks on the problem that he left in the village. Even when you touch him, want to turn him on. The problem with the village, love is psychological.
Yeah.
And so if psychology can actually not be able to turn on, the man, he's off. You understand? You take him to the hospital. What is the problem?
Yeah.
It is the psychological organization. Let your bedroom be the most loveliest place that when the man gets on, he turns on automatically. Yes.
This brings me to the whole point of intimacy and how essential it is for a couple. Not just, given that you're already married, doesn't mean that you just stop dating as well.
Yes.
Continue with the dates. Yes. Keep the love alive. What are some of the tips that you would give couples out there in terms of just, yes, you've been married for 5, 10 years, 10 years, Abok here. Tips on, just keeping up those dates, keep the dates alive, dressing for your partner. What advice would you give couples?
I'll tell them, keep the fire burning.
Yeah.
You
How?
started it well.
Yeah.
You have to finish it well. The time you're dating, this person used to wear nicely. Until when he sees you, he says, "Mwah, you look wonderful." Now you are brought in the house. You started cooking ugali and chapatis. You start changing.
Yeah.
By the time your relationship goes to 5 years, you look like a 50 years old mama. But me, I'm 50, but I'm not looking bad anyway. But
But do you say?
it's good
Yeah.
to ask for those dates. It's not a bad thing. It's not evil. Didn't take you for a date, a coffee out there, go to Java, have a coffee date. But wear nicely. Don't go naked. Most people will wear those things showing matitis outside thinking that they are wearing nicely. Please, they are good clothes to wear nicely. Wear them nicely, go for a date, sit there, present yourself, take a cup of coffee, smile, tell him love stories, remind him where you came from. And the life goes better and better.
Yeah.
I was thinking now that our children are grown up, they have left us. We are only me and my man in that house. And we were asking each other, you remember those days we used to come home very tired. When we are very tired, we come and say, oh my God, I'm very tired. Oh, Paul. But this has to go on. Again, I agree with Abok. Making your house a conducive area. Your place to sleep, your bed, let your bed be a place to enjoy. Because after day long, this is where you come from. Women, please keep your bed very clean, a place to relax. When you sleep there, don't pile things on your bedroom. Don't pile things on your bed. Don't wash clothes in the morning and all of them you put them on the bed.
Why?
When you go to sleep, you push them aside. Tomorrow morning you put them back. It is like deep and wide. You put, you remove. You put, you remove. Try to make yourself. I also try to make your house a free house. You don't keep unnecessary things. All those things you don't need them. Let them go out. All the clothes.
Women wear hoarders.
Yeah, all the clothes. Give them out or burn the ones you don't need. Don't keep jerry cans. Those kasukus, frying fresh fry oils for January last year. The plastics are more than the plates you have in that house.
Yeah.
Even when you have visitors, by the time you get a good plate to serve, you are serving on plastics. Please, let us try to make our relationship work.
Yes.
There are so many areas. I think if we can continue talking about relationship, I think we can take the whole year. It's so wide. It's so
I think
big.
let me put some essential.
Narrow it down first to intimacy and how you can keep it alive.
Intimacy
is
we can never over discuss this. That intimacy is an ongoing
process,
but it's also intentional. All right. Now, the challenge is the fear we have with intimacy and the reactiveness we have with intimacy. Send SMSs in the morning. Tell your dear one how you love them, how you feel about them. Call them with that name that makes their hair begin to grow. Give them something that increase their adrenaline. And they feel like, oh, come on. Even if they are driving the vehicle and they step on the brake automatically, and share with them some words. But you know what? The problem is that we are waiting when we have already closed the door, switch off the light, then you put your leg on top of the other. That to show that, you know what? Oh, there's something I need. Come on, things are no. Let it be automatically known that today is our day. Why? Because there are languages that are being communicated. Someone has been sent on, even the way, you perfumed on the house, he comes in and you feel like, oh, come on, there is, put Royco in the uji. And until, he feels like, oh, come on, yeah. Even if today you are only eating skuma and ugali, make it until you feel like, oh, come on, mchana wenyewe. There is something that you're doing. Immediately you do the last meal, it switch off the power on the switch. Because you say, I don't want anything that is going to be destructive. I only need you alone. So the seduction, we need to be seducing one another on a moment and moment basis. After all, what are you thinking about if you're not thinking about me? All right? Think about me. Show me something that you're thinking about me, that your mind is focused on me. It's important. I saw this lady as I was driving and I just thought how beautiful you are. Kiswahili say ukiona vyaelea umeundwa. Sasa unda ya kwako. Ukiona ya kwako.
Nyasi ya wenyewe.
Yes, we are busy admiring nyasi ya wenyewe, yet ours have overgrown.
Yes.
What is it that you can actually be able to do with one another that can be able to spice out what you have? Let me tell you, every woman, even if they are walking like they are going and they are coming back, there's something unique in them that if you provoke can actually be able to make you have them the best. But please don't leave the things cultivate your shamba, make it on well. Look at it and call it the best name that you have ever called. Why are you calling the secretary darling and you're calling your wife with her name?
Mama Nani.
Mama Nani. And you know, you get in the office and say, hey, baby, they're my fault. No. If you want the best, and you know what? I always say that women are incubators. That's why if you give them, if you give them stress, they give you hell.
Yeah.
If you give them your sperms, they give you babies. Yes. You need to understand that what you give a woman is what she multiplies and gives you. So if you call your wife baby, she multiply that and call you darling and honey. You know, you feel, you know, even if your boss abuse you in the office and you get back home and you call the baby, you say, oh, I'm still the boss on here. You say, okay, my king has arrived. Even if you know your shoes are dirty, you feel like, okay, I'm home. You know, the place where you know you can walk in and you feel like I'm the king. So please, what are you investing in the relationship so that you get? We mostly want to expect much, yet we're
and you're not giving much, anything for that matter.
Yes. You go for shopping, you only think about yourself. Do you know the size of the bra of your wife? Do you know these essential things?
Yeah.
You know, do you know the size of her shoes? You dress on well. You make you know, you walk. No wonder you introduce your wife at Mama Watoto, because she looks like Mama Watoto. You know, the dress is, you know, so there's not cultivate it.
Yeah, water your own grass. Some of the grass is green on the other side.
For sure.
Also
the big excuse.
Okay. Also on the other side, I would like to urge women.
Yes.
Sometimes we need to be so loving in the house. Sometimes we make these men feel as if they are in another world, in a desert. Okay, you always shout. Even if he wanted to come so close to you, he feels, oh, this is untouchable. And you know, we are told in men's head there are so many boxes, and there is a major word called a nothing box. Yes, a major one called a nothing box. So if you do something that will confuse him something, he goes into the nothing box. That's why you find a man watching TV and ask him, what are you watching? Nothing. What are you reading on the newspaper? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. Even when he comes to intimacy, you start talking so much, you tell him so many things, and he goes to the nothing box and everything goes away. So it's very good also to be good to these men.
Yeah.
Let us also, despite the more we want them to call us baby, or the more we want them to treat us well, we also should treat them nicely.
Yes.
Tell them nicely.
Jen, allow me. I was hoping that Josephine is going to touch this.
Wait, just wait. Maybe she will give. Okay. Let her finish. Let her finish.
Also, we love nice things. We go to the market. We buy good things.
Yeah.
We find nice things for men, like boxers. Buy one or two. When you bring to them, they'll say, wow, this is, even if they don't say thank you, don't expect so many thanks, but in heart, they'll be grateful.
Yes.
The other thing, and this one I want to say, it is good to watch the moods or the man's emotions. When he's
being emotionally intelligent with your partner.
Yeah, be very careful to handle them.
Yeah.
Handle him carefully. Even when he comes in.
He's the only one you have.
Yeah. And ask him, how was your day? How was your job? If he comes to the right place. Like when he comes, you make everything clash. So I will urge women to love their men.
All right.
Don't keep your man dirty. Sometimes they get sad and sick. You find a man coming out from your house, he's very dirty, untidy, wearing frotters. And you call him your man, your husband, your whatsoever. If you are going to make yourself, you want other women to respect you, make your man
look good.
When they walk, hey, and I saw somebody's husband is looking, umemwona siku hizi? Ata amenona. Amekuwa msafi. I like the way people say, amekuwa msafi.
Amekuwa msafi.
Yeah, kazi yako inaonekana. And then you do everything possible.
Yeah.
Love that man. You loved him from the word go.
Yes. Abok, there's something you wanted to add?
Yes. No, one is that, so you should not be jealous when other women admire your husband. As long as you don't give in to them.
Yes. they recommend. They recommend and
Number
say,
two.
you'll take your nini high. You say, oh,
Your
you can
CVs
see,
get on
yeah,
high.
yeah.
And
They
the one,
respect you.
because behind every successful man is a wife.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a
But number
strong
two,
woman.
In intimacy, and we use intimacy to be solution to a problem. So when a man, you time, when on an intimate time, and you say, hey, now, you promise to buy me a shamba.
Everything goes.
No one to bring up certain things.
Yes.
So I think also, from the perspective of women, it's essential to understand that maybe he may not be active in doing some things, but when it comes to an intimate time, let it be secluded, let it be, holy,
Yeah.
and don't discuss many other things.
Yes.
Also,
Yeah.
men are not like women.
Yeah.
Me, I can be in the kitchen. I be outside looking for my chicken. I can talk to phone through the phone.
Multitasking.
Yeah, one thing. But men concentrate on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So when they are on intimacy, let them do that. Don't at the end of nothing box. Nothing you'll still complain.
Itakukasirisha tu.
Yeah.
All right. Remember, we're talking about relationships and how and what some of the things that you can employ and just apply in your relationship, see if they work, and just let us know. But I understand we have feedback, so I'm gonna throw you over to Ram on the other side of the studio to let us know what people are saying. Ram.
Yes, ensure that you can be part of this conversation. Be part of it. It's all about discussing about how to have lasting relationships this morning on our Twitter handle at KBC Television, at Jain Wambui, and at Ram Aguko. The hashtag to use is Good Morning Kenya. Now, I would like to just sample a few tweets, Jane.
Yes.
There's someone who's saying, unpopular esoteric opinion. Tony Sun said, it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Either because he never loved and therefore he had no empirical evidence, or his long-term potentials were hella faulty.
Wacha kizungu mingi. In love, you get what you invest.
Yes.
And if you are not getting what you expect, which means you are also not giving what is expected.
Yes.
So wacha kizungu mingi, invest on love, period.
Yes.
It's a two-way street.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any more, Ram?
If you want to succeed in killing any relationship, simply starve it with your time.
Yes.
Time. The importance of time
Oh,
in
yes.
a relationship. Just briefly before we get back.
Yeah. With the time, you have to give your relationship enough time. Don't be so busy with your relationship. You'll miss somewhere on the way. I try to believe when I'm relating with my children, I give them ear to listen. Also, when I'm dealing with my man, I also have to give him ear to listen.
Yeah.
Because maybe even he's going through psychological problems. I also need to know. So give your relationship enough time.
Yes.
And don't pretend you're too busy. Those people who are very busy in their offices, they don't get time to have time in their homes. In fact, in return, they get somebody else to get that time.
All right. Abok?
I think
when it
time
comes to
is nothing further from the truth that time has to be planned for.
Yes.
And unplanned time is a wasted time.
Yeah.
So within the schedule, you have 24 hours in a day. Come and set up aside time. We have 7 days in a week. You got to find on time, as busy as you are, to cultivate on your relationship. And that will be paramount. If you don't create it, if you don't plan for it, then you will lose it. So
Yes.
let us plan for it.
Give me the best of your time and give others the rest.
Yes.
Don't give me the rest and others the best.
best.
That's the only way you'll build your relationship.
Oh, sure.
Ram?
All right, we have one more tweet here that it's quite interesting here.
Yeah.
At Melissa, she says, is there a change? It should be, is there a change with how millennials view sex and relationships compared with previous generations? The topic of of the chat. Is there any difference between how millennials view sex compared to the previous generations?
I'll start with you, Josephine.
Sex was created by God.
Yeah.
And it was there for couples or for the married people. So it should be used well. And when you use it well, make sure you don't misuse it. If it is your right person, let me put it this way, if this is the right person in your life, you don't shy up, you don't fear, you don't think that who sees who don't. It is for you. and it is enjoyable when you are two of you. You are in agreement.
Yeah.
So it is very important. It should not be compromised, but people should avoid to misuse it. Once you misuse it,
it loses its value.
It loses its
Abok.
value.
Yeah, I do agree that millennials do view sex different from their onset.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the early exposure and vast dynamic engagement. And so this one builds on into the fundamental element of how should sex be treated, especially in a relationship. Because right from the onset, sex is the a mutual factor in a relationship. And, you know, it needs to be honored. It needs to be, you know, put in a consecrated area that satisfy. And, you know, you ask millennials, they tell you sex is just sex because of the exposition. But I believe that it requires counseling and guidance on how to be able to get into this. So, because sex has psychological, emotional, financial, and social impact
Yeah.
that if it's not looked in well, it cannot just be an intercourse. It has all these elements. And so it needs to be trained, it needs to be communicated, and it needs to be adhered to on the principles so that it makes it effective. Yes.
Do not misuse it just because, you know, but, you know, even the times that we're living in, technology just helps this downward drain when it comes to sex and relationships. Everyone can have sex anytime. There were even pregnancies of 9-year-olds, a 9-year-old who is pregnant, which is sad.
It's pretty sad, and, you know, it's something that we have to be very intentional by discussing it, by, you know, putting it in complication, you know, based on the level that the millennials are.
The level of maturity.
The level of maturity. And so that it's something that they understand the consequences are also the dynamics that are involved in it.
All right. Ram.
Yes, there is quite one interesting tweet here at Last Queen Zilla. She says, when we finally meet the one, it always happens to be someone who is way far from the person of your dreams. Like life works in a mysterious ways. That is a tweet.
Do you agree with that?
Nothing further from the truth.
Yeah.
Because he is not who you are. But you know what? You get what you make. Now, in this world, you don't get what you want. You get what you deserve. Now, it is on the aspect of what you invest on it to make it how you desire it. And that person will also be able to make it. And you know, the beauty with the relationship is that you meet someone who is not like you, but you become to one. So they
complement you.
You complement. So there is aspect of living, then cleaving. So there got to be desires and thoughts that you need to live so that you can be able to cleave. Yes.
Let me just read one more tweet here. There is someone who's saying at Detar, trying to rescue your partner from insanity may result in you losing your own.
What form of insanity?
That's quite an interesting tweet there. But maybe if you can send us your tweet, maybe we can talk about insanity.
To clarify on that.
You can clarify that. But those are the tweets that we're having so far.
I think when you talk about insanity, it's the degree that differs. And to what point of your insanity are. It is, maybe you are, it's not that you are not insane, but maybe the degree of your insanity is what differs on from the other person. So measure up. How can you reduce the insanity? You know, if you're feeling so hot, take Panadol, and you will be, your temperature will go low.
All right. As we bring this conversation to an end, remember we are using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Just one last point when it comes to accepting change as you move on with your relationship. You know, a relationship goes through different phases. You don't just stay on that honeymoon phase the entire relationship. There are different phases and seasons in a relationship. So when it comes to just accepting them and embracing them, some have challenges because this is not what they wanted, but it might be what they need. Your advice when it comes to just accepting change as your relationship grows?
Changes must be there in life, whether you like it or not. During the honeymoon, it was so sweet for two of you, but within a course of time, the baby comes. Now you have to accept a baby has come. And you have to accept that you are too busy looking for this baby. Both of you have to put your mind clear that there is this change of a baby. Then there is more responsibilities. So you had less, now you have more. So you have to accept now we are not buying diapers, now we have to buy diapers. We didn't have the expenses of none, now we have the expense of none. We didn't need a house girl, now we need a house girl. So both of you have to accept these changes. If one of you pretend that you'll go against it, the relationship will go wrong. Because you must pressure one side. So it's good to accept the changes. Also, there is this thing I want to tell people: learn from those changes. Don't go looking for people to help you to run. Maybe you need an assistance, but you don't want people to chip in to help you. You have to work with it, walk with it, and you'll make it. But if you see the baby has come, things are not going the way you want them, you learn to other people to ask for counsels and answers, then you'll never grow. Accept the changes and grow with the changes.
All right. Abok?
Now, being that
briefly,
marriage is the only place that you give you certificates before you do exams, it's important to understand that you need to get some ideas on how to go into it, because changes are inevitable, though some are spontaneous. But proper prior preparation prevents perception of occurrence. And so you need to prepare yourself in this element and getting to understand that some spontaneous change will affect the way things are. And you need to adhere onto them and need to get adjust onto them. Change is good as long as you can be able to adjust into that change and work into it to your benefit, rather than looking at it as something that is disgusting, something that is actually out to destroy your happiness. Now, look at change in a positive way, that though they're going to happen, but how do you get to fix into them and bring out the best and the joy out of you?
Sometimes that change might be what you need. It's not what you want, but it's what you need, depending on which level of your relationship you are at. Well, with that, we want to wrap up today's discussion. Thank you so much for interacting with us through our social media. We do appreciate your views and comments as they always come in, but we want to put a cap on today's discussion. Thank you for being part of Good Morning Kenya through and through the hours. I have been speaking with Josephine Wanjiu Mburu. She is a motivational speaker, and of course Mr. Fred Abok. He is a mentor, a life coach, and our resident analyst. Thank you so much for just making time and sharing these gems with us and our viewers.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Great.
So I think be sure to join us again tomorrow right here on Good Morning Kenya from 6 a.m. all through to 10 a.m. for another fantastic edition. I'm going to throw you over to Ram on the other side of studio to just say his goodbyes. But for me, it's a wrap. See you tomorrow. Have a lovely day and enjoy the rest of your viewing. Ram?
Thank you very much, Jane. It has been amazing having you all the way from 6 a.m. through till now. I want to wish you a blessed day as you pursue the desires of your heart, even when you talk about relationships, and may God bless the works of your hands. Let's see each other again tomorrow, very early in the morning, from 6 a.m. all the way through to 10 a.m. for Good Morning Kenya with Ray Manyara, and Jain Wambui, and myself, Ram Aguko. God bless you. Have a good day.